Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, one and all. We are back in the Rookery on Clapham Common. Hello.
Bonjour.
Hello to Zach and hello to Patrick Van Straten
Hello,
as well. Yeah, it's good to be back, man.
You're very cheery today, I've got to say.
I am. I'm feeling happy today. I don't know why, because, Antonio Conte's gone to Tottenham, and we will be talking about that in just a little bit. But yeah, I'm back. Chris Hamill is still away at the moment. He'll be back next week. He's been on holiday in Abu Dhabi.
Living the
life. That YouTube
right for
money
some.
hitting different for Hamill. How have you been, Jalal?
Yeah, not bad. I've got to move out this weekend,
Yes.
so booked a van. Never driven a van before, so if there's a crash within the area of Clapham and south of London, probably me.
Yeah. How are you, mate? You've got your coat on. You look a bit cold. You look a bit sort of like...
Yeah, my baby's been coughing in my face all week, and now it's starting to give me a sore throat.
Nice.
So
you've come here
just to pass it round,
Yeah,
lovely.
exactly what I wanted. It's just
Enjoy.
We've got the jab, the flu jab.
Yeah, I've had the flu jab. I'm
It's
double
not flu.
vaxxed.
It's not like protection against every disease. You just can't go around like hugging lepers and being like, "Don't worry, I've got a flu jab."
All right, let's crack on with the football chat then, as Henry plays videos out loud on his laptop during Sunday Vibes, which is
Unbelievable.
just unbelievable production. We're cracking on.
It's a Football Daily video, to be fair.
No
to.
stand for the mic. Videos playing in the background. Sirens buzzing around Clapham.
We're buzzing. This is great. This is peak YouTube. And Henry was just sat there with his headphones on, just like nodding along to us while it played in the background, totally unaware.
No wonder you're 5-1 to replace Jeff Stelling with this level of production.
Let's crack on then with the question sent in by M Turnbull 78. With the arrival of Conte, what additions do Spurs need to compete for top honours? What do you think? Pat, I don't think anybody's heard your opinion on the Conte move yet, have they, on Football Daily?
I mean, is there an opinion to be had? Aren't we all in agreement that it's an absolutely incredible get for them? Like, I remember about a month ago when Arsenal were rubbish. But I remember you saying, like, look, I don't think that Arsenal can get Conte right now. And, I didn't really agree with you, but I sort of understood where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So I think there's maybe a slight element of surprise among some people that he's managed to go to Tottenham, especially given that Daniel Levy
I can't believe it.
has spent a lot of money on that squad over the years, and now you'd assume he's going to have to spend quite a lot more to keep Antonio Conte happy.
Yeah.
But it's an absolutely phenomenal appointment. I think the squad is... It's not
Decent.
ideally suited to the way he wants to work, but I think it fits it well enough for now.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
Son and Kane, I think are going to absolutely thrive under
Outrageous.
him. Really intrigued to see how the midfielders fare as well.
Hojbjerg will be interesting.
Well, and Ndombele I think could really soar under him, but he's one of the 5 best managers in the world. Like, he's immediately going to get them competing at a much higher level. I don't know. Like, this is just... I hate having to take Spurs seriously, but we're going to have to now.
Oh, definitely. Do you know what I think as well is that if you look back to the summer when Conte wasn't appointed and they couldn't come to an agreement over that appointment, I almost think it works out better for Spurs fans that Conte's coming in now, because
Go through a
he must
negative
have had
to-
those assurances. Those assurances must have changed in that sort of 3-month span between when he didn't get the assurances to now getting assurances, which means he will probably have more money to spend than he would have in January. So I think this is potentially one of the best appointments I can ever remember for a club like Tottenham.
Well,
Hotspur.
mid-season, right?
No, just flat out. I think flat
Yeah.
out. Like, for a club like Tottenham, who have been struggling consistently since Pochettino left, and Pochettino was a bit of a miracle appointment in itself, turned out to be exponentially better than I think they thought he would be. To get Conte right now, it is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's just... I can't believe it.
I'm trying to remember the last time a club of Spurs' level was able to just go and take one of the best managers in the world. Like, obviously great appointments like Simeone and Pochettino, who were like revolutionary for the clubs, but those guys were made at those clubs. Like, it's not the same as somebody just going out and I mean,
even Klopp, I don't think had done what Conte's done. Like, he was obviously going to be a success.
Well, Dortmund is previous, wasn't it?
Dortmund had come to an end.
He was coming off a bad season,
and he was a bit more of a project manager. Whereas Conte's just like a hit the ground,
that's
stunner, top 3 straight away.
That's the thing that I think is so good about it, is they've got a manager here to, instead of another building a project, another couple of 3 years where we're going to develop these players into stars. They've got a manager who is going to be ideal for the now of the Son and the Harry Kanes and getting the best out of their world-class players.
I'll tell you what, though, it does really put into perspective just how dreadful the Nuno appointment was. Like the Nuno appointment was so bad. Now you look back on it, to wait 72 days, go through 7 candidates, have all of this nonsense spouted by Levy of we want this attacking DNA that Blood's youngsters, and then go to what is effectively Jose ball with a smile is like shameful. Like I felt so sorry for Nuno against Man United when he was on the touchline. He was almost in tears, and we'd smashed them apart 3-0, and it was an awful United team doing that, and he was getting booed. I just felt like this bloke should never have got the job in the first place.
We were literally laughing in the group chat about Man United's lineup in that game. Like I looked at it and I was like, is there anyone here who's got over like 65 pace on FIFA? Like it
crazy,
was unbelievable. And yet like they made Spurs like look like they were playing like peak Barcelona. It was unbelievable.
I mean, he'd been set up to fail, realistically, Nuno.
Absolutely.
From the off. I mean, as you said,
was so bad.
The attacking DNA. We want to go back to our attacking and free-flowing football. So let's hire one of the most defensive and counter-attacking managers there are in the league. It just makes no sense
because
from
Conte doesn't really align with that attacking philosophy, but we're all willing to accept that because he's going to guarantee success, you can park that to one side. Whereas some other managers that were being linked, you would say not at all. It's a stunning appointment. It is a stunning appointment.
From a United fan point of view, right? Yeah. I know obviously Ollie he's beaten Spurs, and it wasn't a great Spurs side.
Yeah.
You then had the game against Atalanta.
Yes.
We obviously, when they've seen this, the Manchester derby would have happened at 12:30.
Yes,
but we've not seen that yet.
Fingers crossed that's not another 5-0 spanking.
How do you feel? Because do you not feel like you've missed out on maybe the best possible guy you could have got?
And you've arguably got the most to lose here, right? As in, like,
Definitely.
If Spurs are suddenly great, it would be your Champions League.
It's an extremely worrying appointment for a Manchester United fan. It's extremely worrying appointment for a Manchester United fan because clearly United have the best squad. United have one of the best squads in European football, but the differential between calibre of manager between Conte and Ollie almost outweighs the quality of squad differential, right? It makes it quite close. I'm not like really asked because I just never thought we'd appoint Conte in the first place. Like Conte was never going to go. Like I think Conte would have gone, but Conte was never going to align with what Man United wanted, and Man United's board were never going to appoint an Antonio Conte. I just didn't ever think that was going to happen. So it wasn't like when Conte went to Spurs, I was like, we've missed him, because even if he hadn't gone to Spurs, United wouldn't have appointed Conte. I think that's kind of where I fall on it. Obviously, he would have been an amazing manager for Manchester United, even in the short term. And I do think there are some misconceptions about this sort of explosive Conte nature where he leaves clubs. Of course, he's only been sacked by one club, and that's Chelsea, and he successfully sued them for a misfire.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think every time Conte leaves a club, the players are upset, the fans are upset, and he's upset at the board for some regards. So I don't think this sort of explosive Jose Mourinho style toxicity that people label Conte with is actually true. I think that's a bit of a misconception. So he would have been a good manager for Man United, but it was never going to happen. Anybody who thought we were going to appoint Conte is kidding themselves at this stage. So not too asked, but should we talk a little bit about Conte Spurs? Because it has happened. He's going to be in the dugout tonight. We're shooting this on Thursday against Vitesse, right?
Which they lost to the previous game.
Yeah, and he had his visa clearance come through this morning. Of course, he hasn't been able to train the club because of that, supposedly. Although I have seen photos on the training ground.
Everyone's been like, he hasn't been able to train the club, but also the players are really enjoying training in a 3-5-2. And I was like, okay, right.
Which is interesting.
Who's running that training session?
But we spoke very briefly there about the squad being set up for. I think the squad's set up quite well for a 3-5-2.
Yeah.
Should we go through it and how we would how we would set up?
I mean, let's be clear first though, and we've said this before, but I think it merits repeating. Like, Conte is not like totally wedded to like a 3 at the back. Like, he doesn't have to. He started
Chelsea
at 4
at the back,
and he changed to the 3 obviously because it wasn't working as well as he liked. But
Arsenal spanked us.
But I think actually like Italian managers particularly are less wedded to formations than like a lot of other people. You know, you've seen it with like Ancelotti. Ancelotti was like a 4-3-3 manager, then became a 4-2-3-1 manager, then turned up at Everton and was playing 4-4-2. Generally speaking, like, and Mancini's very much the same. Like, I think tactical flexibility is something that they're taught, but I do think like given total freedom to do whatever he wanted, Conte would go to a 3 at the back. And I think also given maybe
it was a surprise Nuno didn't know. Nuno classically has played a 3.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, but especially because when you think about it, like Romero, they bought him after he was playing in the 3 at the back last season at Atalanta. Davinson Sanchez, best season he ever had at Spurs, playing in a 3 at the back, like in the middle. I think his first season at Spurs, like. And players like Reguilon, like you'd have thought would be better off.
Emerson Royale certainly going to be better as a wing back.
Doherty's whole time at Wolves was at 3 at the back, even though he wasn't really going to start.
Yeah, and you can play Ben Davies as a left-sided centre back. I suppose.
Certainly, Son and Kane work best as the front 2, don't they? Kind of, you could very, very clearly see them mirroring Llorente and Tevez at Juve that Conte got working, or a Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez last season at Inter Milan. Those two working very close connection. I think they still hold the record for goals and assists working together, don't they? Kind of supplying each other.
Hazard and Costa as well.
Hazard and Costa. There's no reason that can't work, and that's. I still think he's going to go for the 3-5-2. I think we're going to see Uri in goal, Emerson Royale as the wing back, 3 across the back line, probably Davinson Sanchez, Romero, who can be way more aggressive in a 3, like he was at Atalanta. Doesn't have to be so conservative as he is in a 4. Reguilon as a wing back. The midfield is one of the most interesting areas. Yes. Does he go for
Højbjerg? Definitely.
I think is definitely going to be a Conte.
Well, does he go 3-5-2 or 3-4-3? That's the question, right? Because I could see, a guy who I could see really.
Lucas Moura.
Yeah. Lucas Moura, right wing back. Lucas Moura, right winger. Like, he got great production out of Pedro at one point at Chelsea, and you just think. Actually, I squint at Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura as well. Like, he's such a big game player. Like, he was really like the only guy who showed himself to any kind of like great degree in that Man United game, I thought. So I don't know. Yeah, the question I guess is whether he sacrifices that player to put in another midfielder to play somebody behind the striker, where maybe he doesn't have anyone who's ideally suited to it right now, or sacrifices that midfielder so that he can play Lucas Moura or Bergwijn out on the wing.
Yeah, I do wonder. Because obviously, let's say he does, I think the 2 midfielders, if it's a 3-4-3, are going to have to be slightly more conservative. So it's probably going to be Højbjerg, maybe Skip.
I feel sorry for Skip. I think Skip's minutes are about to drop massively.
But I don't think he'll play Ndombele as one of a midfield 2 in a 3-4-3. I think Ndombele is potentially more likely to be a 10 in a 3-5-2 with 2 defensive midfielders behind him.
Yeah, I mean, because the only other option apart from Skip is Harry Winks. Really,
or he uses Lo Celso in the withdrawn role that we have seen him play in the past when he was at PSG, but wasn't as effective and hasn't been as effective at Tottenham. Lo Celso, I mean, he was.
But then he played as a 10, more like a 10 at Betis.
Yeah, he did, but he can't string together game time. Consistently injured. I mean, again this season has been unable to string together more than 4 or 5 games in a row, and on Sunday against United was shamefully bad, like so bad in that midfield area that you must look at Ndombele and think, if Conte can get him to work in the Conte way, like off the ball, and just become a bit more dogged. On the ball, he is so technically good, he will start in the Conte team. I also think this is going to be Dele's last chance saloon.
Oh, it has to be.
If Dele can't work under Conte, then he's going to get sold.
Yeah. He has to be. I mean, I've always had a thing. I've always liked Dele Alli. Like, I've always thought he that season, or the season and a half essentially, when he was fantastic in that second striker role, was brilliant. And there's possibly a way he can fit into this side, as maybe he plays as that maybe a possible 10 role, or he can maybe possibly play as a second striker. But if the fact he's towards the end of Pochettino's reign, then Jose Mourinho's reign, then Nuno, like if he can't even get it working under Nuno, and showing that he deserves to be at least getting minutes for them, and he did at one point, and then Nuno came out after that Chelsea game and was essentially saying Dele Alli has been awful, he's not not up to the standard. Then good God, like how's he gonna deal with it with Conte? We know how Conte, if he does not like a player, you've got no chance.
Yeah, and we did see all the sort of images on the Amazon Prime doc, didn't we? Where Jose was like, "You're a lazy guy. Yeah. You're a lazy trainer," and like Conte just will not stand for that. Like,
same with Ndombele as well.
Like
Ndombele in training will have to, because that's the thing. Sometimes there are certain players. Like I remember Hazard, right, used to get away with it. Because on the match day, he was a lazy trainer. Always has been. But then on a match day, he would turn up and be fantastic.
He was the best player in the league.
Exactly.
That helps.
Exactly. Whereas at the moment, Ndombele, if he's going to be a lazy trainer and not turning up on the match day, then Conte's just not going to stand for it. Yeah. Same with Dele Alli and same for a few of them.
I think the squad is pretty well aligned to a Conte side. But he is and always will be demanding of the club behind the scenes, which I think Tottenham need as well. Like Tottenham have, like Paratici. There's already question marks about Paratici. He was the guy who appointed Nuno. Okay, he'd not been in the club long, but he appointed Nuno, which was a horrible appointment. Now we look back on it. If this appointment hadn't gone right and Conte had said no, Paratici would have been in a world of bother. Yeah. He really would have been in a world of bother. And I'm sure Conte is going to be putting the pressure on him to say, look, I want this player, I want this player, I want this player. I need big budgets. I need changes quickly in this squad. So who do we think he could bring in? Because we're saying Kane and Son are going to be locked down as a front two, right? Like Kane must be looking at this buzzing. And then the back line, you're probably saying Romero's a lock, Lloris a lock, potentially Højbjerg, Reguilon's likely to be a lock on the left wing back. But there's quite a lot of positions that I think you could look at and go improve.
I think the number one is getting someone in for possibly like Eric Dyer. I think Eric Dyer is a fine Premier League player. I don't think he's Champions League standard. And maybe they'll look back. Maybe he'll look at. And we also know Conte likes to kind of look back at his players that he's used before and trusted before, and maybe he looks at the Inter Milan squad and looks at De Vrij, possibly Skriniar as well. We've seen Spurs linked to Skriniar as well. And so if he can go in there and pick up one of those two during the issue is January. Like we know what clubs are like in January.
Not going to be easy. Is it?
Every club will know as well that Conte's putting pressure on the board to buy his players. So that's an extra 10, 15 million pounds added onto their prices. Then an extra 5, 10 million just because it's January anyway. Like these prices will start going up.
And Levy has classically not wanted to spend big amounts of money.
Joe Lewis as well behind even higher up at the club. Like I don't necessarily see the transfers in maybe in the summer, but in January going the way Conte.
There's going to be nowhere to hide for Levy, Paratici, ENIC as a whole if they don't back Conte, because Conte will let them have it in the press. You know how Poch was quite protective, wasn't he? He said a few times, look, we need to kind of carry on, but I'm happy with my squad. Jose at levels was like, I'm happy with my squad here. Nuno's been pretty toeing the line. Yeah. Conte will not toe the line. He will say it as it is, and if he isn't backed, Levy has nowhere to hide now. Nowhere to hide. So I agree. I think those names you mentioned are pretty Conte-ish. De Vrij in particular out of contract, isn't he? In 2023 maybe. So I think he's got 18 months left to ride. But it's the sort of thing that Conte will know. I'm sure he is fully aware of the contractual situations going on at Inter Milan.
Well, the other thing as well, the players they're going to be buying, like Conte isn't one really to buy an up-and-coming young player to be there for years to come. Like, it's going to be guys that are 28, 27, 29, maybe even 30.
But that's fine for the makeup of the squad.
Fine, especially for 18 months contract as well, right?
And it means that wages, in a way, will be a bigger issue, might be a bigger issue than transfer fees. I think he's going to want to get in, some reliable old stages. Like, he might be like, we're going to go out and pay for a centre-back because we need it. Yeah. And I think he might want a central midfielder as well. But I do think the advantage of Conte as well, and this is what you were talking about before, about like how his hand has probably been a bit stronger in these negotiations because it's mid-season. He's the guy who will be able to say, I'm not going to play Dele Alli, sell him. You know, whereas previously Levy's clearly been resisting that. True. He's been like, we're not going to sell him because what if he goes somewhere else? Yeah, exactly. Whereas I think Conte will be like, if he doesn't like him, if he doesn't like Lo Celso, if he doesn't like Ndombele, if he doesn't like any of these guys, he'll be like, I don't care, I'm not going to play him, sell him. And so there is money to be gained back from the squad. So if he's so it's much better for them to get rid of Dele if he's not going to play, get a little bit of money, and then like go and do something with it. So in that sense, it helps that Conte is going to be so clear about who is going to be one of his guys and who is not, because it means that they can just plan for the future. Whereas with Nuno, you're like, how much money are we going to invest in like Nuno's vision of the club? Even with Mourinho, it's kind of like, how much is this guy like genuinely somebody who's not going to be in our future plans, or just someone who Mourinho happens to be feuding with this week? Like, they didn't take it that seriously with Ndombele or Dele Alli. So I think that with Conte, at least, he does have the clout to say, no, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of him. And they can probably, if they were to move on Eric Dyer, you could probably get decent money from another Premier League side. If you were to move on Dele, I think you could get, actually, I have no idea what Dele's worth in the market, but more than he's worth to them right now.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree that I think the ruthlessness that's been missing at Tottenham for so many years when it comes to decision-making processes, Antonio Conte is going to provide in abundance. And some people in the squad are going to get pretty hammered by that. We've already seen first day The Athletic reporting that a number of players were slightly miffed about how hard he was making them work in training, which is
mental.
I'm sure Tottenham fans.
I love this guy, man.
I'm sure Tottenham fans
He's
are going
so great.
That Tottenham fans must be looking at that going good.
Yeah,
Any of those players need to be weeded out and sent they're a fucking long way away from the club. Did swear there, but like for too long they've had these like lazy players who are willing to just sit there and not work. Like some of the work rate under Nuno was just embarrassing.
That said, do you remember the end of the Chelsea period, like when they were like closing down against Man United, I think, and they were just like Cesc Fabregas was just walking towards it. Actually, Cesc Fabregas is quite interesting. Like the fact that he did get like some production out of Cesc Fabregas maybe does bode well for your Ndombele types.
Yeah, 2016 year, Fabregas, but he used him smartly as well.
Well, yeah, that's what he'll do.
N'Golo Kante was essentially also doing a lot of Fabregas is running for him. I don't know if they've got that kind of guy
as well, right?
And Matic too. And that's the thing. Like he's gonna find essentially 15 players that he loves and that fit everything, and those are going to be his guys. And he doesn't really go much on beyond. He doesn't use a lot of his squad like maybe say Thomas Tuchel does, and other managers do, where they are constantly using.
But it's not the biggest squad. It's not the biggest squad.
And he's got European football, whereas the season he won the league with Chelsea, they finished 10th the year before. Yeah. Even with Inter, they've kind of underperformed in the Champions League. So I wonder.
I mean, I still expect them to
win
the Conference
League's in a big.
I don't know. I can imagine him just like binning it and being like, I don't care. This is where I play skip. I don't care. Like I'm just not because again, Antonio Conte, I feel like is not a guy who comes out and he's like, you know what. We really care about every competition we're in. We want to give a trophy to Spurs fans. I think he'll be like. The Europa Conference League, I've never heard of it. I refuse to be tainted by the competition.
The 18-month contract as well, I think, is quite interesting.
But he never classically signs long-term deals, does he?
Exactly.
That's exactly the length of contract.
No. But what I mean is, right, they've hired this amazing top 5 manager, right? And if they don't, they've got half a season now to get Champions League football, essentially. Maybe try and go far in a cup if possible, and then one more season after that. And I personally don't think. Next season, no matter really who they're signing, they're going to be maybe beating the likes of Manchester City.
He's got an option for an extra year, though. He's got an option for next year, and that's not to say he can't extend that contract.
I don't think he'll take it though. Do you not think that like at the end?
So your prediction is that he's got an 18 months?
Well, probably.
I just find it hard not to imagine that there won't be a really good vacancy for him in 18 months. And as happy as he might be at Spurs at that point, I think that somebody's going to be like Antonio Conte is available and he's one of the best managers in the world.
That's an interesting shout, but equally,
it doesn't matter to Spurs because he'll have like revolutionised. Like, well, to be honest, if they're going to get anything out of these last years of like Harry Kane and Heung-min Son's peak, it's going to come under Conte.
Yeah.
If they don't win a trophy in the next 2 years, I firmly believe that nobody would have won a trophy with those guys because I
totally agree.
Because like he is the biggest winner in the game. Like I don't know, man. It's so annoying.
And it's not like people, I'm sure there'll be some people commenting going, well, Jose Mourinho it's not the same.
Jose
Mourinho
Mourinho
different level of manager to what Jose Mourinho was when he joined Spurs. Different caliber.
It's like if they signed Mourinho when he left Chelsea the first time.
Yeah.
That is the level of this signing.
It's unbelievable. So I think this season, consolidate, try and win an FA Cup.
Yeah.
And top 4.
Are they still in the FA Cup?
No, FA Cup hasn't started yet. League Cup is. I don't know if they're still in the League Cup.
I think they're out of the league.
I think they're out of the
league. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But anyway, FA Cup. Try and win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Try and make the top 4. If you've got a choice between the two, probably top 4.
Yeah.
Especially with Conte, I think Conte's.
Although I think Tottenham fans will do anything for a trophy at this stage.
It's not wrong.
For a trophy.
It's not wrong. I mean,
they would.
But I don't know. But he'll still just leave them in a better position to win it. Well, except for the fact that Kane and Son will be 2 years older. I don't know. Like I'm a bit confused about that. But like it's I don't know. I saw that thing the other day of Gary Neville, talking about Spurs when he played, and it's so funny. And he's just like every time we play him, lazy, weak, embarrassing, pathetic. Like it went on for so much longer than you'd expect.
Well, there's that saying, right? It's only Spurs. Apparently, that's what loads of footballers would say.
Yeah, but he just was like when we used to play them, we were just like when we used to play them, they were embarrassing. They were disgusting. Like. He just kept saying weak, and I just thought, you know what?
That's not going to be Conte.
Yeah, exactly. Like he is going to get them taken seriously. It's like I was saying this about Arsenal before. I was just like, you know what? Like the appeal of Conte is people can't just write you off as a fucking joke
Yeah.
when Antonio Conte is your manager.
Yeah.
Spurs will not be a joke under Conte.
Yeah, they are going to be.
Whereas right now they are a hilarious joke.
Yeah, scary proposition. I am genuinely excited, particularly to see how he sets up.
Harry Kane, honestly, when he saw the news that Conte had signed, must have been.
Left, right, and centre. There was leaks coming out saying, he's now considering committing in the long term.
I still think they should sold him.
To go from Nuno to Conte though, for him must be like absolutely incredible.
Yeah, because he is an idiot as well. Like he under Mourinho, like when everybody hated Mourinho, by the end, Harry Kane was the one guy who was like, Jose Mourinho is a serial winner. Like he's gonna win the league. Like
what was that impression?
I was like,
that's shameful.
That's my impression of Harry Kane. But seriously, like under Mourinho, it's every single leak that came out of the camp was like everyone hates Mourinho, but Harry Kane believes that he's still a winner. And it's like, he's going to bring back the good times. Well, Conte is actually that guy.
But he has been so off the pace now this season, Kane. Like, he was getting booed by his own fans at home against United.
You love to see it.
It felt like that his head had dropped so much that he was almost like, I've just give up. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here now. Like, at least with Conte there, he must be thinking, there's actually a chance to win a trophy. I can win a trophy here.
I find it so hard as a footballer of Harry Kane's level to just be shit. Like to physically, like to the way he was playing.
Try, you mean?
Like the way he was playing. Yeah, exactly. To just not trying. To not.
Yeah, but you also know what it's like in football when you're like just in five-a-side. You know what it's like when you chase someone down and they just pass it to a guy next to them,
and they're not
nobody's doing anything.
You're
like, it's soul destroying.
And also, there is an element of. I don't know what's happened, but all of the England players have come back post Euro 2020 don't look the same. Like none of them are playing well.
What do you mean, Reece James?
But Reece James wasn't like wasn't a starter really.
Reece James played for England.
Like, I'm trying to think, maybe other than Declan Rice has come back improved. Like Maguire looks well off the pace. Shaw looks well off the pace.
Grealish
not been quite as good. Grealish has been.
I think Grealish has been fine.
It's been good. Okay. Like Kane's off the pace.
How's Phillips?
Not starting.
Phillips doing? How's he doing?
Calvin Phillips is better.
Doing all right.
Walker's all right.
Yeah,
but I see your point. You do have a very good point.
All of the, I don't know whether maybe they're just tired or like
they only really got 2 weeks off to be quite honest. Like, it wouldn't shock me.
It feels like they're all off the pace, the England players at the moment. But whatever.
It was a long 18 months before that. Right?
Yeah, Conte is going to be shit hot for Tottenham.
I hate it.
Let's do some quick fire questions then. Villa fan 76 says, who should Villa get in if Smith is sacked? Now, do we think Dean Smith? What do we think about Dean Smith? Because I do think he's under a lot of pressure right now.
I think he's under a lot of pressure, but that's always going to happen when you sell the player that essentially made everything for you. When every goal or chance created essentially came through Jack Grealish. And I actually thought their business in the summer, I mean, I backed them so much.
They tried their best.
I mean, maybe got a bit too confident and said that they finished above Arsenal. But I thought their business was really good. Like they went for the idea of, okay, we're not going to be able to buy a £100 million player that's going to replicate Jack Grealish. Let's spread it across the board. Let's bring in Danny Ings. Let's bring in Bailey, who I still think is going to be really, really good. He's unfortunate with injuries and stuff.
The defence is gone.
And
it's basically been bad since they came back up, with the exception of the bit after lockdown, like last year. The defence has been pretty poor the whole rest of the time.
When John Terry came in, arrested, I don't know, must have worked some miracles behind the scenes.
He's left
and
as
he's
well
now gone.
No, but Craig Shakespeare as well. Like Craig Shakespeare, I remember came in lockdown 1, and then when they came back, their defence was out of this world, and then everyone worked it out again because they were like, oh, their midfielders don't.
But they've
defend,
tried this season to shift to a 3-back. They put Tuanzebe in the middle of it. Then they've tried going to a 4, and Courtney House has come in. And last weekend we saw Tyrone Mings get dropped, which is a big call for Dean Smith. That's probably one of his bigger calls as a Villa manager.
That's like panic stuff.
And then they still shipped 4, and then if I was a Villa fan, and I'm sure there'll be Villa fans watching this thinking, he needs to rapidly turn this around, because the amount of money they've spent, the ambitions of the ownership, I think Dean Smith is a good coach, but the pressure on him in particular, comparatively to some of the other managers in the league, like I think there's probably more pressure on Dean Smith than Daniel Farke. Like, because there's just kind of an acceptance that Daniel Farke, that Norwich just are like, okay, they're not going to do it in the Premier League. Do we get rid of him now and try and accumulate a few more points and ready for next season?
I think they'll give him till January. I think I'll give him to January, and
I don't know.
I think that's brave, mate. They've lost 4 on the bounce now.
And I actually know as well that their next fixtures aren't easy.
No,
they've got quite a few tough games
that
coming up.
Slump defensively needs to be arrested quickly, and I don't know who they could get in. because they have got ambitious owners and the squad is all
Well,
right.
you mean manager-wise or player-wise?
Money to spend? Well, the question from the
There's
Villa
Favre.
Fan 76 was who should they get in if he was
There's
sacked?
Favre, who would be interesting.
Lucien Favre, yeah, he's still about. Isn't he?
Well, a guy I was talking about last week as well, who I wrote in a script before I lost the script, was Christophe Galtier. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't think that Christophe Galtier is going to leave, really. He's at Nice. He's in the middle of a season. That's the third job of his managerial career, despite the fact he's been managing for 12 years.
Jesus.
Like, he's a very loyal guy. But he almost went to Villa a few years ago before they got Remy Gard.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's just an excellent manager. Like, he's going to get their defense working. Like, he's going to build through the wings, which their squad is kind of built to do. He wants his forwards to press high. Like, they've got great forwards to do that. Danny Ings certainly did that at Southampton. Yeah, I think he'd be interesting, but I think probably like the sensible guy who's available, who can make things work in basically any formation and is about their level is pretty Favre.
Yeah, totally agree. The next quickfire question was sent in by Al4's Jonathan, who says, most overrated player so far this season, which I think is a spicy topic.
Oh my
good
God.
Could be a whole Sunday Vibes, to be quite honest.
It really could. I'm trying to think.
Off the top of
Who
my head,
has
let's just
been
go through some of the teams.
Overrated.
Good God.
Paul Pogba.
Has he been overrated?
But
I feel
I think
like
a
all
lot
I
of
see is
people
everyone
give
saying
him
how
a-
much they hate him.
No, because he's got them 7 assists. So people
Yeah, those
really,
first two games really
like
spiced him up, didn't they?
recently been struggling, Pogba. Obviously,
But this is Pogba's whole career at United.
Yeah, it is,
Has
you're
a
right.
few games where he's
amazing. It's so
fantastic,
frustrating.
and then shit.
Yeah.
And he does deserve to be praised for those good games. It's like
Yeah.
Lukaku.
100%.
People have been talking about Lukaku. They're like, oh, Lukaku, what a difference maker. Lukaku had a couple of good games, then was
Yeah.
pretty bad, then got injured.
Yeah, no,
you
you're
know,
right.
or not bad, but like they
You're
weren't
right.
good with him.
I'm
So
just
you're like,
frustrated
well,
with Pogba because he's just such a good player and he's just not.
I don't
Again-
know. I think you'll be better off without him.
That's his whole career, bro.
Okay, so what other names have we got to throw in there?
I'm thinking of
Somebody said to me the other day that I'm overrating Declan Rice because I put out a tweet basically saying that I think he's the best centre mid in
But
the league.
people have this weird thing where,
fine, isn't
like,
it?
there are some
Like a
people,
player.
and to a degree, there can be cases where an English player does well, and we and other people may give them more praise than they possibly deserve. But then they attach that to Declan Rice's name, who is legitimately one of the best midfielders in the Premier League right now. He is ridiculous.
He's the best
in what
centre
he
mid in
does.
the league this season.
He's-
Kevin
he's
De
up
Bruyne has
there.
been
Yeah, he's
miles
up
off
there.
it, mate.
He's
I
up
don't know
there
what's
for sure.
happened to Kevin De Bruyne this season, but he's miles off the pace. Like, United's two centre mids, not including Bruno, have been a mess. Like, Bernardo Silva, you could say, if you count him as a centre mid, probably up there as well.
Yeah.
Liverpool's midfield three has been a constant changing evolution of injuries. Like, Chelsea's Jorginho and Kovacic is
A lot of
probably up
people
there.
say Jorginho's overrated.
Kovacic as well has been very good this season, hasn't he? But I think Declan Rice has been the outstanding Premier League centre mid this season.
Considering the names, whereas everyone else is playing alongside
It's
like
very hard to think of a
world-class
guy.
names, yeah, Declan Rice
Made a
is
good case.
doing a very, very good job.
I'm trying to think of any other overrated names.
Pat thinks Jorginho's overrated.
Well, he is.
Is this in terms of Ballon d'Or we're talking
Well,
about?
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I don't think anyone. I haven't really seen people like going wild about his performances this season, and it's not like I think he's a bad player.
But I don't
like,
think
he's
Jorginho will never have a thing where someone will come out of a game and be like, Jorginho was incredible, like, because he just doesn't necessarily do that
Exactly.
role. He just ticks the game over
Yeah.
and really helps out that.
Yeah,
the
like
play.
as we've said about every Ballon d'Or winner,
Yeah.
we're like, well, there aren't really games that anyone comes out of, with Messi and says like, wow, he was amazing in that game.
Very, very
like that,
true.
but that's definitely Ballon d'Or form.
Henry behind the scenes is probably thinking Vinicius.
Hey, a little,
Nah, Vinicius
another
has
dig.
Vinicius has been great.
You know,
Vinicius has been great.
just
Come
never
on.
forget. I'm never going to let Henry live that moment down.
I literally can't think of anyone. Who is there? Who plays football? Is there anyone?
Well, we've gone through City, we've gone through Liverpool, we've gone through Chelsea, Arsenal. I mean, everyone's just quite rated at the moment, aren't they?
All right,
Yeah, if anything, like Arsenal's players over the last year
Underrated a little
have
bit.
become so like
Yeah.
underrated that like it's. I don't know. I mean, like I think often people overlook like flaws in like Partey's game or whatever, but he's clearly a good player.
God.
I don't know, man.
All right, maybe we should just move on then.
Yeah.
I'm
There's
really
another question
struggling
here
with that.
from Stefan, who says, "What do we think about Eddie Howe's appointment at Newcastle?"
Is that happening?
Soon
Has
to
that
be,
happened?
or
Well, it looks like it's going to happen. That Unai Emery move is now
Horrible.
collapsed. Pat hates this
Horrible.
move.
Horrible. I don't rate Eddie Howe, but I think even if you rate Eddie Howe, you have to accept that his success has been building attractive possession attacking sides. who have been absolutely god awful in defence.
So bad in defence.
His Bournemouth side were lucky not to go down a couple of seasons before they eventually did. Yeah. They always had one of the worst defences in the league. They routinely conceded over 60 goals. In fact, I think they might have done that every season apart from maybe one where they got very lucky. Their defence is really, really bad. And when I look at Newcastle, I suppose you can argue, okay, well, like Fraser's there and Wilson's there and he worked with them before, and Saint-Maximin's better than basically any player he had with him at Bournemouth. But the defence is so bad. The midfield is so bad. Like, I just think I don't hire Eddie Howe. Like, genuinely, if I'm Newcastle, I'd be more inclined to hire Allardyce till the end of the season because I'd be like, the cost of going down.
Can't.
Yeah, but you've got to stay up.
Bro, come on.
Yeah, but you have to stay up.
I really don't mind it.
If you go down, it's a disaster. You have to stay up.
For 7 months, Allardyce.
Mate.
In the summer, you go out and get a new manager.
Newcastle have not just sacked Bruce to appoint Allardyce.
Yeah, but you hire anyone who keeps you up.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. We're not arguing for Allardyce. We're just saying that like if Howe takes you down, that is such a calamity for them. It's going to take another couple of years and a load more money to get them back up again, and they'll lose Saint-Maximin. They'll lose all the talent.
I agree, but the fan perspective here.
But they're never going to hire an Unai Emery. They're never going to do it. It's
well, they came close.
But I just think it's ridiculous, this idea they're going to go and hire this one.
Why don't they go and get Favre?
I literally think.
Why don't they go and get Favre?
I mean, sure, but
I agree. I think Eddie Howe is literally the worst. Eddie Howe is probably the last manager in the world I would hire for this side. Like, I'm serious. No, you can't. You can't hire a team. You can't hire for a team that's set up like this a manager who has played wide open at the back and just tried to score goals at the other end. It is a disaster waiting to happen.
But maybe he's learnt from that, and
he's not had a job since.
Maybe, but like, you know, maybe like just a random guy off the street would keep them up this season. Like, I mean, it's a big maybe, isn't it? Like, you're when you're investing this much money into a club, you should be able to do better than like maybe you should be able to make an educated guess. And I think Favre is an educated guess. Yeah. I think there are loads of guys out there.
I think there's better options in the market, but I think Eddie Howe isn't quite as bad. I don't think Eddie Howe's quite as bad as you've made out. But I think that defensively they are in a big
But like I'm saying, it's not about whether he's as bad as I've made out. It's that he's a bad fit. Like, he's a bad fit for the job. Like, there are other guys like
for the future as well.
So Villa,
where's the planning as well?
If Villa were in this situation, you'd be like, maybe Eddie Howe works because the defense is bad anyway, but the attacking talent's really good. Maybe he gets more out of the attacking talent and it counterbalances the defense. With Newcastle, you can't do that. Yeah. Newcastle are their squad is so bad. Their squad's probably worse than like 3 championship squads. It's so awful. Like,
apart from the attack's half decent.
The attack's not good though. Like, it's just got one. It's got one or two good players.
Do you know what Newcastle really needed? Was Rafa Benitez to be out of a job.
Yes, he's perfect. Rafa Benitez is exactly the guy you need.
I think you've got a good point about the planning though. The planning I find is absolutely mental.
I also think Nuno would have been an okay option.
Still could be.
I still think Nuno would have been a better option than Howe.
Better than Howe, yeah.
Like, I know that he's not a progressive, like, these Newcastle fans want this progressive, but just to solidify the defence a little bit, go to that three at the back, like,
what's he up to?
He just would say no. He's Dutch man, isn't it?
Koeman.
But he's not the worst.
Koeman's just lost the job at Barca.
Again, though, like, Koeman not the worst for this squad. The way it's set up, he's just going to play sensible, like, defensive football.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really understand the move. I don't understand the idea from the ownership that Unai Emery and Eddie Howe are our first. They're just polar opposite managers. Like, where's the alignment of thinking? It feels really like a rush job, doesn't it?
I mean, it has to be said as well. I think the whole buyout was a bit of a rush job. Like, you got to remember that originally the meeting for the court case was in January. This January coming.
Yeah.
And so obviously I don't think they quite expected to be where they are just yet. But still, you've had 3 years to kind of plan what how you're going to go about.
But they probably weren't planning it because they didn't think it was going to happen, right? I think they haven't quite got the sporting structure in position that they thought they would. And now they are flapping a little bit because they've got rid of Bruce. They're thinking, shit, it's been 15 days since we chopped our manager. We've got to get someone in. Who's on the market? Howe is on the market. Like, Emery was obviously the guy they wanted. They made a massive play for Emery. He's rejected them, and now they've gone to the second choice candidate, which plays totally different
Emery could still happen.
No,
like Villarreal.
No,
like
he's released a statement saying he's not.
No, I know, but what I mean is, at the moment, Villarreal, he could be sacked from Villarreal
no way.
in a couple of weeks.
That's a huge like show of faith by Unai Emery and Villarreal.
Sure, they are shit at the moment.
They're not shit. They're still potentially. Game. They can still potentially get out of that Champions League group. And he's not going to be sacked while they can still get out that Champions League group.
He's just going to get saved by Danjuma again and again and again. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I know what you're saying, but like, I don't think it's going to happen. They just need to pick a horse. Like, it's
and hope. Well, they've picked.
They've by the looks of it, they've
this
picked.
is a horrible
They've picked
idea.
Hal. They've
Horrible idea.
Hal.
Go and like try. Is Marcelino still at Athletic Club? Like, just go and pay what it takes to get him. Like, he is your perfect guy. Like, somebody like that who's going to be like, we're playing 4-4-2, and we're going to stay up.
It is a bizarre one, isn't it?
I mean, I really, really like Valerie Ishmael at West Brom. I think but then I don't know whether he would like to.
It's a big risk. Though.
Jump.
That is a huge risk.
I don't know whether he would like
Valerie
to jump
Ishmael,
up to,
who's never managed a Premier League club.
Yeah, exactly. He's not
Hodgson.
done that just yet.
Yeah, man.
Is he retired?
They must be gutted about Benitez not being like available, because that would have, number one, the fans would have loved it. He would have definitely kept them up, and it would have just been a gold dust appointment because they would have been able to keep him for 2 or 3 years.
Would he have definitely kept them up?
Definitely, mate.
Didn't he go down with them, or did he take them up within the Championship? Or did he go down with them and play in the Championship?
I think they got better. Yeah.
I think he might have taken them down.
He took over. He took over
when they
with
had
like
4
very
games
few
left
games
or something
left.
like that. And they were already
okay,
basically
okay.
down.
And then they went
bought
down, beating Spurs. Like 6-1 or whatever it was, and then he got them back up.
Yeah, and then they were consistently better under Benitez than Bruce. And I mean, yeah, Howe just feels like a risk. If there's any Newcastle fans watching, please do let us know in the comments below just what you're thinking about it. Let's do the next one then. Al Day says, why does Eric Bailly continue to get overlooked? We can move on from that one very quickly because he's always injured.
Yeah, because he's never fit.
When he's fit, he's good. When he's not, he's injured, which is about 70% of the time. You just can't rely on a player who's only fit 30% of the games. Conte 1ST says, which players should leave their clubs to save their careers? That feels like a long old question.
Big question.
That's a big question. In fact, I think we've done a 10 on that very recently, so go and watch that if you haven't already, talking about players on the bench who need to leave. Spartan Ghost 17 says, if Ramsdale continues his form, should he be England's number 1 in Qatar? You're the Arsenal fan?
No.
You said that very bluntly. I think.
Because also, I don't think Jordan Pickford for England has been fantastic. He's been great.
But another 18 months of Ramsdale playing like this, how would you overlook him?
I also don't think.
I mean,
that's
18
how it
months is a long time.
Is that how it works? Like, oh, this person's been
with
good
Gareth
for England.
Southgate.
It does.
But you would want to pick like the best team. Right?
Oh, he'll go 100%. I think he'll be going 100%. I just think Jordan Pickford, as you said, 18 months is a long time, maybe. And saying will he continue his form is the same as saying will Jordan Pickford continue his England form?
He has been incredible, Ramsdale. Though.
Yeah, but he's very young. He's got a long
been very
career
good.
ahead of him.
He has been very good. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. 18 months is a very, very long time. That's a whole. The rest of this season, then half of the next season, before we can make an opinion. I'd probably say no, just 'cause I think he loved Jordan Pickford too much.
Yeah, I'm kind of drawn towards no because of the Pickford kind of agenda with Southgate.
Are we asking whether he should or whether he will be their number 1?
What was his wording?
The question is, if Ramsdale continues his form, should.
Well, if he continues his current form, yeah. Right. I mean, like,
yeah, he's the best English goalkeeper right now. So yes,
and he's certainly better with his feet than Pickford.
So should yes,
is,
will no.
So,
he does not just boot it as far as possible and hope someone can get onto it.
Distribution's his distribution's really impressed me. To be fair.
Ramsdale,
yeah, and
really
I'm genuinely really happy for Ramsdale.
Yeah, after the abuse he got as well.
And it was so unnecessary, man. Like it was so. Yes, it was a bit of an overpayment potentially at the time, and people were comparing him to Martinez. But some of the abuse was so personal. Like, he was an Arsenal fan, isn't he? Like he is.
Seems like a good, like funny lad as well.
Yeah, exactly. And he had no reason to get that much.
In fairness, the fans in the stadium
absolutely
adore him.
Which is
like
just
they're singing his name all the time.
The bit where he takes that goal kick and the Leicester fans are booing him and he just pumps it. It's so good.
That's classic football, isn't it? The fans in the stadium
Yeah.
supporting the team and the manager or whatever, and then the fans online are just chatting absolute waffle. Okay, let's do a personal question then. Did any of you boys consider dyeing your hair? From Aymano.
Ever?
When? It's just in our lives?
I don't know. Ever. Yeah,
I've always thought about blonde bits or going blonde.
The old Zac Efron. I thought about doing that in lockdown when I was just bored out of my mind.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But I was like, why would I do
the that? Issue for me is if I go all blonde, then good God.
But you could go for like the Rashford, like.
This is what I mean. The tips, I could maybe do the tips. But
you'll
if I went
look
blonde,
like a Dominican rapper. Like you'd look sick.
That would be so jokes.
Maybe one day. Look, if the video gets 8,000 likes I'll do it.
You dye your full hair blonde.
No, not full hair.
No, that,
not
you just
full
said
hair.
that.
Yeah,
you
bleach.
just said,
Yeah, that's it.
Just
you
the
just said
tips.
8,000 likes.
Well,
Nah.
not the
Zach
full.
will
No,
go
I think
full.
you should
not
do
the
it all.
full.
You just
Not the
said then.
full.
You do it all.
Rewind that back, and you just said then you would do
Not
You
it.
do it all.
Because
Yes,
the
you
issue
do.
is,
Guys.
that
You
is
leave
so
the
much
beard
hair.
and the brows.
Okay.
Well, it's not that much hair.
Then I'd have to re-dye it.
Do you know what this is? There's a part of Zach that does want to do this.
Yeah, of course there is.
There is, but there's also a part of me that thinks it will look fucking shit.
And
Yeah,
it
but then you
will,
just-
but
it's
you've
fine.
just said 8,000 likes there, so let's wrap.
You're a young
let's run them
man.
up.
Who cares? There are no stakes.
Yeah, the next one, Cheo Twist. With Halloween behind us, what's the best Christmas song?
Isn't it? It's like two-pronged, right? There are two choices here.
Bublé's. What's Bublé's one?
Shut up.
What's Bublé's one?
Mariah Carey.
It's Mariah Carey or
It's a
it's
bit-
Wham. Like,
Oh no, you're right. Wham.
it's either Last
Wham
Christmas
is
or
Last
All I Want for
Christmas.
Christmas. Like, both of those
Wham,
are absolute
Wham.
bangers.
I think All I Want for Christmas is a little bit overrated.
I mean, as what? Like,
It's just like everyone's like favorite song is Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas.
it's not their favourite song. It's their favourite Christmas
No,
song.
but that's what I mean. It's like
Did you
their
see
favourite
her?
Christmas song.
Did you follow her on
Yeah,
Instagram?
It's like,
Like,
oh,
as soon
Zach's
as
my
it's
favourite Football
done.
Daily
So
presenter.
good.
It's like, well, yes.
Okay.
In this terrible category of absolute garbage, my favourite example is Zach. You know, like, when you think about Christmas music, so much of it is
Shocking.
Awful.
Yeah.
Shocking,
Awful.
honestly. It is.
that Paul McCartney song. That's the worst one. You know, where it's just
Okay.
like, it's
It was a
like,
rendition.
I'm trying to think of a bit that's actually singable, but like, it's just got like a little choir of children like singing. And there's a bit where he goes like, the choir of children sing their song they've practiced all year long, and they just go ding dong, ding dong. And I was
Oh,
like, that's what they've been practicing all
God.
year.
Oh,
Sort
God.
them out, rubbish.
Is Feed the World?
Mariah Carey's got a 5-octave range.
Is Feed the World a Christmas song?
No. It's
Uh,
live.
it
Do
was-
they know
Yeah,
it's Christmas?
yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
That's okay. It's all right. It's got
Is
lots
it?
of artists.
It's annoying though, isn't it?
I remember I
It's
got.
got Bono involved.
No,
Annoying.
not having that one at all.
Shut up,
Definitely
Bono.
not.
I feel like we're missing maybe.
It's
a
just
couple
got
of
to be
big,
Mariah
big
Carey, man. I
bangers.
just think it's got to be Mariah
I'll
Carey.
go with Wham. I
I
actually will
might
go with Wham.
I'd go Wham, but I think Mariah Carey is a very honourable
Sensible
choice.
chat. All right, there we go. That's the end of Sunday Vibes this week. What an ending that was. Yeah, lots of Conte chat. So be interesting to see who they got this weekend, Spurs.
I know they've got an easy run over the next couple of games.
so basically, we know nothing. We've not known if they're in any of the cup competitions.
we don't
know
know any research.
Don't know who they've got this weekend. Doogie has done like reams of research on Tottenham and Conte, and I've looked at it twice. It's like really poor, really good work by Doogie behind the scenes. So, and Henry's watching videos just in the background. So it's
a classic Sunday vibe, some would say.
Yeah, some would say.
Work on our script, Henners. We're sharing a script today.
Anything you want to plug?
Literally what he's doing. Why not check out our Snapchat? You can check us out there, Football Daily content. We also do a transfer show where we update you guys on all the transfers. Or check out the podcast channel where me, Henry, and James Wayne actually spoke about all the latest managers who could be getting the sack or need to be replaced.
What have I got
Yeah,
to plug
yeah,
something?
if
I've
you
got
wanna
nothing to plug.
Nice.
If anybody knows how to retrieve files, like
Oh, yeah.
lost so
That's how
much
they're
shit.
deleting scripts again.
Oh, I hate
Oh,
it so
God.
much, man. It's the worst. Or if somebody can teach me how to do vocoder on GarageBand, then that'd be good. Or GarageBand, I don't know how I'm gonna say
what?
it. Vocoder.
What's that?
Okay, so you know what you think is auto-tune?
Yeah.
Like, what you're thinking of is probably vocoder, you know, where it has like a really weird
Oh,
tone.
yeah.
That tone, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that.
Oh. What do
'Cause
you do that for?
I'm trying to do something for my wife's birthday at the moment.
Oh.
Get at him, lads.
Have you tried Google?
Yeah, but it's just nerds, isn't it? It's just people being like, I've actually got this vocoder.
Do you know what you should do,
Harry
mate?
Kane's.
Do you know what you should do? Is go onto Fiverr
All right.
and
Pay someone a
pay
$5.
somebody to do it £5, and they'll do
Yeah.
a full auto tune.
That's
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a good idea.
Rather
Zach, are
than-
you sponsored by the Fiverr?
No,
by
but
the-
I am
by Fiverr
sponsored
app?
by Zap.
And if you do want
Is
to
that 'cause your
sponsor
name's
the show
in
Fiverr, if Fiverr the channel wants to sponsor, not the channel,
If
the
anyone wants to
company
sponsor
wants,
us.
yeah, if anybody wants, yeah,
Get us the
Yeah,
email.
because at the moment, like Zach is absolutely
Yeah.
raking it
Raking
in,
it in,
and
yeah.
the rest of us is poor as fuck.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.